Well, unfortunately, Will's sickness. What's up, everyone? Sorry for the chaos. Tonight is just going to be me. We've had some illnesses among the ranks. Unfortunately, Evan was never going to be able to make it tonight, and Will rugged me with his inferior immune system. So it is just me, but that's all right. We rescheduled. Charlie didn't feel like I really wanted to jip him on the experience. I don't have the soundboard. Can't play the game. Can you do Rise Up without the game? What's up, guys? Good to see you guys. We are just going to hang out and we're going to do some crypto research. I've gotten a few suggestions from Discord that were submitted. If you guys have one that you want to toss in over there, I've got it up in front of me and we can take a look. Otherwise, we're just going to kind of do some stuff. Let me toss in a note. And sure, okay. I'm gonna do my best to do something with all of you guys tonight instead of rugging. Thought about canceling, but that's for quitters. Okay, so I'm going to get a couple things ready to share, and we're gonna get right into it. If anyone wants to kick me off with something, feel free. I'll take some notes. If I don't get to your question right away, I am doing my best. I am jotting things down as I see people toss suggestions in. Good evening, good evening. Good to see you guys. Welcome in. You might be wondering, what the hell is Alex doing here by himself? It's just me struggling alone tonight without Evan, without Will. But that's okay because we are going to do some altcoin research and it sounds like fun. Okay, let me take just a couple notes from the Discord. We had a suggestion for Plume. We've got... I am realizing, fun aside, right before we jump into it here, as the way of doing the intro, the cold open by myself. I used to stream by myself all the time. It's how I got started on Crypto TikTok many years ago. And over the past how many years, I've been streaming almost exclusively with Evan, and I am so spoiled because I can take a second, pause, read the chat over here, and not like completely lose momentum from the entire stream, which is something definitely that I've gotten used to over the last couple of years. I see something about B3. We can absolutely talk about B3. I don't know the most about B3, but I happen to be friends with a creator who is one of their primary partners and sponsors. Shout out Icy. So I will do what I can, and then I'll send all of you guys over to him. He's the pro. He's the pro on B3. What's up, guys? What's up? Do Avalanche, Render. We can totally talk about some of those. Kind of a little bit of an overview. Just a quick note. I won't be able to get to everything because when I do thoughts on something, I'm not just going to give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down. We're going to pull it up. We're going to look through it. If it's something that I haven't looked at before, we'll do a first impression. What do I think? Look at the website, kind of run through like the basic kind of first impression look. Obviously, when you are doing research into something, you really want to give it more than just like a quick glance. But the first impression really does say a lot. And usually that's what it takes to determine whether or not you want to look any further. And actually, we could totally, let me see if I can pull up here on screen and I can do a quick little screen share with you guys. I actually have a research guide that everyone in Discord has access to for free. Shout out to you guys if you are in there. And if you're not, what are you doing? If you don't like Discord, you can shoot me an email and I'll send this to you for free. But this is kind of like a quick little research guide that I whipped up just to kind of give you some way to quickly look at a brand new project you've never looked at before. And the point of this is really to determine if you want to look any further. And I'll be honest, if you guys have seen me before, you know that I'm generally a little bit bearish on most altcoins. I don't really like most of them because I don't think most tokens really need to exist. And I think we have way too many tokens. But I am absolutely going to figure out how to get this frickin' thing over here. Okay, here we go. We got it. I'm going to do it. There we go. Sweet. Bear with me. I'm just going to struggle. I'm struggling. Oh, come on, multiple desktops. You know what? We're going to do it later because I'm not going to keep bugging you guys. Okay. So let's start with Plume. Plume was the first suggestion. We're going to start there. And I have not looked at it at all. So this is a first impression. I just realized too, I'm not going to be able to do Evan's little janky screen share on TikTok because we can try, but it's going to be ugly. It's going to be so jank. If you're over on Twitter, YouTube, or whatever, you should now be looking at the homepage to Plume. And let me see. Let me turn you guys around. I'm going to say this a couple times. I really appreciate you guys doing. I see the error request. I got you. We can actually use Arrow for a very specific example of how to check some specific and important things using DeFi Llama. So let's put a pin in that one. Right now I've got Plume, B3, AVAX, Render, and Arrow. And Avalanche we're not going to spend a ton of time on. That's a big one. Top 20. Okay. We can talk about Ondo. I had a general request for some RWA, real world asset stuff. So we can kind of go over that. Ondo is going to be included here, except they are kind of the daddy of RWA stuff right now. The bigger, more interesting partnerships and arrangements and deals and whatever, they're looking at Ondo right now. The other stuff, the other RWA stuff, so Plume is in that RWA narrative, real world asset narrative. And if you've never heard that term before, real world asset is kind of just like this catch-all term for people trying to tokenize things. So they're not just tokens, they are meant to be tokenized versions of stuff from the real world, whether that's real estate, deeds, car titles, physical assets like gold and silver, precious metals, whatever. All of that would kind of fall into the real world asset category. So if you're looking at the screen share here, and let me see if I can flip my camera. There we go. Look at not Twitter. Okay, so bear with me here as I try to do this with one hand. Giggity. All right, so public blockchain for RWA Fi. So I imagine that this is trying to do, based on this, the first impression that I have is that we're trying to do DeFi things with real world asset tokens. So that's kind of interesting. I don't know that I haven't heard the term RWA Fi before. That's definitely sort of a crypto marketing thing. Slap Fi on the end of something. So let's see what we got here. Right away, I mean, the design is nice. This isn't like overwhelming. I feel like I'm in a place that could be appealing. But of course, we are super jargon heavy. If I was brand new and I jumped right into this, I would be seeing words that maybe I've seen before, maybe I haven't. Tokenize real world assets, distribute them globally. So like to someone who is, and maybe that's the point. They've got here making things useful for native crypto users. So that's fair. Maybe that's who they're trying to appeal to. Maybe they're not trying to onboard the masses at this point. Completely fair. I wouldn't ding anybody with points for that. Okay, so we've got 4 billion assets available, 18 million unique addresses. So all of these vanity metrics, take these with a grain of salt, because sometimes when you measure stuff like this, you're sort of imagining, thank you, Miss Mike, I'm sorry. Bear with me. I will say today is the one day where I will not yell at anyone for sending me the same question more than once, because I might need a second as I try to do all of the things by myself at once. So Plume Network. So what I'm basically getting is that this is a chain. Right now, launching blockchains is sort of in vogue. So there's like a gajillion different chains launching. I see a testnet up here. I don't know if that means that they're not at mainnet yet. I see that there's some sort of claim for an airdrop. We can check that out. We'll do the ecosystem exploration here in a minute. Right away, I really like how they've organized this. So let's see. Credbull, haven't heard of that. Paxos, of course, I've heard of that. Nest, Layer 0, I have, of course, also heard of. Nucleus, not familiar. Anchorage, Forta. Okay, so we've got a whole bunch of ecosystem stuff. Let's take a little bit of a closer look at the old ecosystems. Who doesn't have a chain these days? For real. I'm just realizing now that anyone looking at me on YouTube and Twitter is just staring at me holding my phone in front of my face, and I apologize. Okay, OpenLayer, Supra. So a couple names that people might have remember or might have seen before. Let's see, Grow, documentation. Okay, so the few basics, like the things that you really want to see on the website for any project that you're checking out is, it might seem silly to say, but you would be surprised how many don't have, kind of up here, they don't have like a clearly labeled, menu bar. I know if you've like looked at websites before, you're like, no shit, a menu. You would be surprised how many crypto projects just don't have, separated out places for developers to go. So like, you'll notice here, if we went into documentation, this is going to take you into kind of an overview for people looking to perhaps build things or deploy stuff on this ecosystem. And that is exactly what I would want to see for this. So this methodology for displaying documentation, pretty typical. I would spend some more time digging through this just to kind of see how it goes and what all is in here. Most of the things over here, if you guys can see this, there we go. This is just going to go into the specifics about whatever they do. So apparently they've got some sort of native smart wallet. I would want to learn about that and see if that's something I can just spin up really quick and start messing with. I'll be honest, if I have the option to just make a wallet and start poking around, I'm going to do that before I sit here and read a whole bunch of stuff. I kind of like to learn by doing. So to me, that sounds way more interesting. Plume USD. So it looks like they have a stable coin, which is interesting. I like stable coins. The first thing then I would say here is, okay, so composition, what do we have? 1-to-1 peg with a dollar. Okay, so dollar-backed stable coin. Backed by a reserve of other stable coins. Okay, I don't know how I feel about that. Stablecoins are usually valuable because of how they are backed up, and if you're backing them up with things that are also required to be backed up to be valuable and legit, that seems, I don't know. I'm curious. I don't know how I feel about that, to be very honest with you. I would definitely want to look further into that. Cosmic, what's up? Good to see you guys. Yes, I'm flying solo today. Will rugged me with his weak immune system, so feel free to wish him well, but also give him a little bit of grief for that. And then Evan, of course, was unfortunately not going to be able to make it tonight. Anyway, he had apparently something better to do. Okay, so anyway, we're not going to spend too much more time digging through documentation here. If you are a developer or an engineer, or you want to learn more about the specifics of the ecosystem, this is where you're going to want to go. Back to the actual homepage, resources. Okay, so, about, check all that stuff out. Technology, I don't know, it's community. So the next thing that I would probably do here on the community note is find a link to their social media, and we would head over there and take a look. So they have a big old social media presence. Account is managed by the foundation, significantly smaller. That's okay. That's usually how these things go. Backed by, okay, Galaxy HQ, Juan Ventures. So these are all names that we've heard before. Currently hiring, so that's good. Hearty following of people that I am mutuals with. That's always a good sign. Looks like they're relatively active. Looks like there's pretty decent engagement on the things that they post. So one of the things that I would be doing here if I was auditing social media is to, well, here, I'll just do an example, is to poke in to one of the posts. We'll just pick one at random, get beyond the actual substance of their thread, and then start reading the comments and try to determine whether or not they're botted or not. So, okay, here we go. Look, check this one out. Okay, so this is exactly what I'm talking about. My excitement for the Brazil tech scene started with my acquisition of blah, blah. Okay, this looks like a bot to me. That's okay. We're not going to ding them too hard for that. There's bots everywhere. Twitter is so many bots. This one also looks potentially bot-like. These things now start to look a little bit more regular. I don't know what LF Goon is, but apparently it's something that, I don't know. Maybe it Maybe it's an inside joke that I'm just not privy to. This is okay. These are okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. This isn't like the greatest set of comments that you could ask for, but you know, sometimes it's kind of hard to like have too much chatter going. I don't know. I would want to poke around a little bit further. So far, just for the record, so far I am definitely curious. Like, this is probably something that I would allow, or I would go past. You know, I'd go past stage one. Let me turn this around here so I can. There we go. I'd probably get past stage one here and like do a little bit of a deeper dive on this one, just because it seems interesting. I'm interested in RWA. One of the things that I have been kind of waiting for in the real world asset narrative, and this applies to all of them, is a little bit more regulatory clarity, right? And I feel like we're probably more likely to get that now with a friendlier administration, a friendlier Congress towards the industry. And again, I don't expect to see groundbreaking legislation. I think that that's just one thing that people need to kind of wrap their heads around. I posted the other day just like a little bumper sticker type of a post. The attention span of crypto is about to meet the real speed of Congress. And what I mean by that is that we have short, fleeting attention spans. You literally have people who are legitimately confused and upset that Congress has not passed legislation in the last 1 month since the new Congress. Like, since new Congress people have been appointed to new subcommittees, things have been expanded. There's a friendlier, more receptive administration to crypto-based legislation. Like, all of this stuff just happened. It would be absolutely insane to see legislation already on the floor, already being voted on, already being debated, whatever. Like, people are drafting things. Now, some people, like Senator Lummis, has been working on a stablecoin bill for quite some time. So that's much faster to throw onto the floor. But you're not going to see sweeping legislative or regulatory clarity in the first couple months. It would honestly be quick for Congress if we saw it this year. So that's something that people just need to sort of come to expect. The best thing that we can hope for right now is that Congress will simply declare that they're going to be not in the way. We would like to see some indication from the new SEC chair, from the current sitting SEC commissioners, that they're not going to be just sending Wells notices out to everybody who is running a Web3 or a blockchain or a crypto included company. That would be way more bullish than them trying to plunge some sort of legislation through. The other thing to keep in mind is that while it's true that this administration is friendlier, it's also extremely partisan. So there's a lot of division in the country. And if we look at Web3 and blockchain and crypto in a vacuum, and we think about what would be genuinely the most helpful from a regulatory standpoint, from like new laws or, you know, the repeal of some some regulations that are bad for crypto and replacing it with things that are good for crypto, what would be better than that is, like I said, for Congress just to get out of the way and let the industry do its thing without making it super political. You know, crypto is for everybody. This is not a Republican or a Democratic thing. And if we make it like that, then what we do is run the risk of making it a stump speech talking point for one party that the other party is very opposed to. And then in 4 years or 8 years or 12 years, or honestly, whatever it is that the other party takes control again, we don't want them to be like, well, day one, time to get rid of all that crypto shit because that's a Republican thing or that's a Democrat thing. We don't want that. So it's tough, but we really want to get along with all this. So RWA specifically, tie back to the beginning here, real world assets are super interesting. I think there is so much potential for this niche to just be massive. There's a ton of value that can be protected or made to be more secure by putting specific pieces of it on chain. To make things more transparent, more open, more easily verifiable, all of the great, beautiful, wonderful things that blockchain is good for. And the thing that we've been kind of waiting for is not to be so scared about regulation coming and slapping people with lawsuits. So I think that was really holding RWA back as a narrative. And I would just like to see us be able to experiment with this stuff without people worrying about getting sued. So that's why I'm more excited this year and next year and in future years about real world assets as a narrative. Something that's really interesting that I'll put on your guys' radar here is that right now, and I encourage you to do some reading about this. I'm not super well read on it. I've just kind of been lightly following. Gold is really going through a bit of a moment right now. And what I mean by that is that in times of economic uncertainty, people tend to go to gold. And right now, gold is up. Withdrawal requests are up. There are backups. There are problems with transport. There is suspicion, wondering who's buying all of this gold, who's getting all this gold delivered. And that kind of makes me excited about Bitcoin, because what's cheaper and easier to transfer and safer, easier to custody, easier to move. I see a world where the two can coexist peacefully for sure, but I'm definitely kind of keeping an eye on that. And real world assets as a narrative definitely fits into that whole kind of boom. Anyway, I've been yapping for a second. So that's Plume. Plume is interesting to me because it's in that category, and I would be very curious to learn more. So I'll keep the tab open and probably spend a little bit more time checking that one out. Give me a quick scroll. Zane, what's going on? Good to see you. Buffster, it's me. What's up, guys? Sorry, I'm kind of juggling chat over here, comments on YouTube and all that good stuff as I'm flying solo tonight. But what's up, guys? Good to see everyone. Let me know if you have any specific tokens or coins that you guys want to hear about, hear thoughts on. I would prefer to kind of stick to broader categories rather than like individuals, and I'll kind of explain why, and then we'll launch into B3, which we can kind of talk about in conjunction with Avalanche, because both of them are sort of gaming, but well, they are gaming focused right now. Some nuance there, but we'll get into it. We are going to talk about Arrow, and I'm going to use Arrow as my example to show you some stuff on DeFi Llama if you're not familiar, and if you are familiar, it's just a good reminder. Render, same kind of a thing. That's more like a data play. Okay, so give me a quick sec. Ren, I'll tell you what. Why don't you tell me about Hex? What is it that you're looking for? Because I'll be honest with you. Every time I give my honest opinion about that ecosystem, it never ends well for me, and I really don't feel like having to mute 30,000 different conversations on Twitter when I get bombed by a bunch of people who just have a massive issue with me not being a maxi for their chain. And I respect you guys and your ecosystem, like knock yourselves out. I am not a big fan. I don't like Richard. He really rubs me the wrong way. So I don't really have a ton of great things to say about it. And I'm just really not interested in signing myself up for another 2 weeks of death threats, because that's what happens every single time I express that I'm not the biggest fan. Whoa. So, yeah, I would prefer to leave that one alone if it's okay with you. The last time I said that I didn't agree with the Sacrifice wallet and I didn't like Richard, I literally got multiple dozen death threats. So, yeah, Hex is an ecosystem. It's Hex is kind of the way that it started, and then that whole thing kind of morphed into Pulse Chain, which is its own Ethereum answer. And it's just an ecosystem. You can build projects there. I actually have a friend who's building a project there in like kind of telecommunications. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan, but I also don't spend any time like campaigning against them like some people do. I may disagree with the launch methodologies and whatever, but the Hex fans are extremely sensitive and they don't like me. They really, really don't like me. Anyway. Did Plume... Okay, let's hit B3. Let's hit gaming stuff a little bit. So, and I really do appreciate all of the patience, guys. I'm doing my best to keep up with everything. So, B3. B3 is a... Well, here, let's pull up the website. It's a base project. It is a Web3 gaming project. Nope, that's not what I want. I don't care about token prices. We want to see the actual thing. There we go. Do they not? Oh, wow. Look at this. They don't have a full website. They have a Tumblr. Wow, I feel like I'm back in high school. Okay, well, we're going to look at the Tumblr. Okay. I honestly cannot remember the last time I looked at a Tumblr. All right. Flip you guys around. We'll do this again. Real quick this time. I'll spend a ton of time on it, and then we'll talk a little bit about Web3 gaming, and I'll give you guys some resources that are much better than me if you'd like to learn more about Web3 gaming. Okay, so future of on-chain gaming. Simple, we get it. B3, blah, blah, blah. So team of Base/Coinbase alumni, OG ETH contributors who are building something new. It's called B3. Gaming and crypto, yep, I agree, good match. So this one's got a little bit of controversy kind of among the Web3 gaming space. I think probably just because of the association with Base and Coinbase. You know, some people are a little hot, some people are a little cold on that ecosystem. I think honestly just people who are salty with Coinbase itself. And the questions that I've heard about this were, you know, how's it going to launch with not a ton of projects or games on it, with, you know, the high valuation that it has. This is sort of, you know, the nature of this stuff. If you were to look at the token itself, it had a pretty significant run up, you know, after its launch. So it's relatively young, February 10th. So what's that, like 2 days ago? This thing is pretty fresh as far as tokens go. So the beginnings of a token launch like this, the term you might have heard thrown around with this is TGE, token generation event. So as you can see here, market cap 309 million with a fully diluted valuation of 1.4 billion. So this just implies, as you can see here, that there's a lot more in the total supply compared to the circulating supply. This just means there's a lot of tokens still to come onto the market. Because this is so fresh, it's pretty safe to assume that is because of token allocations. So, you know, and we could confirm this. We could go, and I'm sure we can read. I'm sure that they have something, you know, on their documentation, on their social media that describes what the token allocations are, which would be like, you know, 20% go to early investors, 15% are saved for an airdrop. I'm just making these numbers up. These are not B3's actual numbers. You know, 5% goes to some sort of treasury. This much is dedicated to this or whatever. Matt says tokens are locked until 2026. Matt, is that specifically for B3, or is that an example? Because that would check out. Usually these things have what you would call a vesting period, which just is, you know, like how long until they come into circulation, that sort of stuff. And basically all you really want to look for when you are looking at something like that is just to make sure that there's a plan, they're transparent, and that there seems to be something keeping them accountable, which would be like, you know, something under contract. And you would never see like a big project, especially one backed by the VCs that I'm sure are involved in this with Coinbase affiliations and all that sort of stuff, that like are smart contract lists. You just simply wouldn't see that. That's meme energy. So what I would be doing instead is really looking into what is going to be building on this in this ecosystem, in the B3 ecosystem, and then play the games. That's the secret sauce here. And you know, one of the things that we're going to talk to Charlie about, that, you know, we were going to be talking about tonight before we had to reschedule, was just the availability of new games and the need for people in Web3 gaming to sort of get over that hump of feeling like we need to launch with some sort of massive blockbuster title. You know, we've seen a few of these huge names drop in gaming off the grid, Shrapnel, you know, some other big single flagship games like that. And there's a lot of pressure on those games to like be incredible. But in the real world, 20,000 plus new games launch on Steam every year. And of that 20,000, and that's just Steam. We're not even talking about other platforms for launching and building games. Mobile games, there's way more of those, right? Less than 1% of them end up being like revenue generating and profitable and actually go on and continue. So this would be like, you know, the number of tokens that launch on Pump Fund and how many of them actually bond and then go off to Raydium, and then continue to trade and grow and like become a real thing and don't just get rugged after 20 minutes. The gaming space is like that. It's a volume game. Think about the gaming industry right now, how long it's been around and how many games you can really name. Like, even if you had the ability to go through that are doing millions of dollars a year, that have gajillions of players, right? You've got Call of Duty, Battlefield, Halo, Destiny, like some big ones. And there's not a ton. So the odds of nailing it are low. And when you add the Web3, the blockchain component, I'm incredibly excited about it. But it's a numbers game, and we just haven't seen that many. There are some games in the Web3 space that I'm very excited about. Wildcard is one of them. The team launching that has a stellar track record of doing stuff. The lead developer over there, or game designer, Paul Bettner, did Words with Friends, did Civilization. And I'll give you guys a resource here. I'll pull it up on the screen so you guys can take a look. If you want to like learn about Web3 gaming and what's going on in that space from someone who's not me, who is like more well-read on it, you really need to be following Wolves DAO on Twitter and the people that are working at that DAO, that are contributing to that DAO. Barry, I see you. Don't worry, I got you. Sam Stefanina hosts a regular Twitter space called Gamified on Twitter. I believe Gamified is Mondays. No, Simplified is Mondays at 4 p.m. Eastern, and Gamified, don't quote me, I'm gonna have to look it up. But here, let me show you guys. This is who you, and I'll have links in Discord. You know, don't feel like you need to write this down if you're in Discord. But this is the profile you're looking for at Wolves DAO. That's Wolves DAO over on Twitter. These are the people that you want to be following and learning from, talking about Web3 gaming. Really, really, really solid guys over there. I'm a huge fan. I've been fortunate enough to be on their spaces a couple times, and Icy Gaming is a good friend of mine. He's over there. Peyton, the founder of the DAO. Sam Stefanino, like I said, fantastic show host. He's like the Evan of show hosting, but over on Twitter. So Avalanche, I would put in very much the same category. So bigger ecosystem, full layer one, been around longer. There's a lot more than just gaming there. But recently they've kind of taken this pivot. Actually, Avalanche's corporate account over on Twitter right now is hosting a space with thousands of people in it. And they're literally playing off the grid right now. So, hop over there and check that out. They've got a lot of stuff going on, and they've been really, really, really leaning into the gaming narrative lately. What else we got here? Okay, so let's do Arrow. That was an early one. Engine, same kind of thing. Engine is in that gaming space. It's a little bit older, and I'll be honest with you, I've not really seen much in the way of like progress or movement or noise at all. Like this market, I feel like Engine's kind of sleeping through it. And if they are doing things, they're not doing a good job getting the story out there, because I'm relatively tapped in, especially to the gaming space, because most of my friends on Twitter are big into the gaming space. And I'm just not seeing anything from Engine. Last bull run, 2020, 2021, you would have thought Engine was going to be huge, and then they sort of lost some steam. Solo Alex stream. You guys are being blessed with a solo stream tonight, and I'm doing my best. I was saying in the beginning, I'm so spoiled because I used to stream by myself all the time. That's how I built my TikTok account in the beginning. I used to go live because I worked the night shift, so I used to go live at midnight every night and do like 2 to 3 hours of just like altcoin questions. And then Evan and I started the show, and I now almost never stream without Evan, so I'm very spoiled. Okay, so that's kind of the gaming thing. Like I said, I know a little bit. I'm lightly tapped in. I can share some more some links in Discord for profiles and social media stuff that you guys would be much better served following for gaming things. And currently, I'm bullying the Wolves DAO guys into getting on TikTok. So feel free to bully them on Twitter and tell them I sent you, and tell them I said get on TikTok and add their voices. Arrow, let's take a quick peek at Arrow, because I want to show you guys DeFi Llama as a resource to check on Arrow. So right now, Arrow's token price down, right? Had a crazy run up, was over $2. We're now less than $1. So, we're down 60 some percent from the high. So let's share this screen over here, and then I'll flip TikTok camera around. Let me stall. Okay. Flip. There we go. All right. So we're looking at DeFi Llama here. DeFi Llama is my favorite, my full-blown favorite website for crypto research. Completely free. Everything on it is free. There's no membership. You don't have to sign in. There's nothing. And I actually recently discovered, so I'm going to give them this shout out every single time I show them. Come on. Oh my God, DeFi Llama, don't rug me. There we go. So, geez. Let's try that one more time. All right, DeFi Llama, you're going to rug me. What I was trying to show you guys is just their donation request and their donation form. So it's completely free. They don't make any money from providing any of this data, and they actually spend money to do it. So if you would like to support them, they welcome donations, and they have a bunch of wallet addresses. Okay, so why are we over here? Because DeFi Llama is the place. This is the place. This is the resource to check on-chain money. TVL stands for Total Value Locked. That's kind of their, at first they were just listed as a TVL aggregator. They display and show you how much money is on every ecosystem and where the money is on all of those ecosystems. What it's doing. Is it staked? Is it in stable coins? I did see a stablecoin question. We'll come back to that. Christina says, I've always said that. It's true. She is constantly talking about TVL and the best places to check TVL rankings for different Web3 protocols. Never shuts up about it. So what are we doing over here? We're going to take a look at base, because that's where the Arrow DEX. DeFi Llama, I swear to God, I'm really doing my best here. They are so determined to rug me tonight. This is tough. This is really tough. They get one more try. Let me try the other screen. Hold on. Hold that thought. DeFi Llama. There we go. If this works, then I'll Twitter, you guys will be rugged, but TikTok, you guys can see the real thing. Maybe. Okay, sweet. All right. Well, DeFi Llama is currently experiencing a bit of an outage, so we're looking at the Wayback Machine. So you know what? That's just straight up not going to work. So not only did I rug you guys with the show by only having me available tonight, but DeFi Llama is now rugging me right after I was all excited to show how that works. Anyway, all we were going to be able to do on DeFi Llama with regards to Arrow was just look at how much money is still there. Are they losing TVL? Are they getting TVL? Is it all being staked? Is money flowing in, out of the protocol? All that sort of stuff. And that way we would be able to sort of try to put a finger on the pulse of the health of the project. And Arrow is one of those that is exciting in a bull run when everyone's looking for stuff to do because it's smaller. So people give it a little bit more leniency when they're speculating on it. It has higher upside potential because it's a smaller altcoin. It's also on base, so it's on a newer, more trendy ecosystem. It wasn't around last bull run, so it's fresh. It doesn't have like dinosaur bags that it's got to contend with or salty bag holders that it has to make happy. And their revenue, they're generating revenue. They're making money. It's like a protocol and a company and a project that's like actually doing business and generating fees and making money. They are profitable. And you as a user, you can go over there and you can do DeFi there. It's a decentralized exchange. So you can buy and sell tokens on the base network over there. You can yield farm, you can provide liquidity, all that sort of stuff. I'm a big fan. It's a good, solid project. It works. They've got volume. They've got everything. However, all of the problem with it during like kind of these bearish times is their tokenomics is not fantastic. There's an inflation, which is super, I won't rant too long about this. It's very typical for a project like this that really needs its token to be out in the hands of more people for it to have an inflationary token supply and token model. However, people don't like to see inflation in tokens when they are trying to invest for the long term. So it makes sense that during a time of like market uncertainty or a little bit of a bearish phase, whether it's, month, week, 6 months, whatever, those projects always get hit harder. More people feel less confident in those long term through a bear market because typically they don't perform that well in the bearish market, so people dump them. There is opportunity there because they also recover bigger and harder than things that aren't quite as volatile. Now, it's crypto, everything is volatile, but I'm talking like, where Solana might have a day where it's 10% up. And that would be a semi-considerable move for one day, unless there was some huge catalyst, like when the Trump meme launched, right? Solana went up from 170 to 290 in about 5 days. But something like Arrow, if there was a massive catalyst like that for something like Aerodrome, it could go up, it could double or triple in the span of a week. They crash harder, they pump harder, they're riskier. All of these things can be true. So just sort of keep that in mind. That is one that I have a small position in. My average buy price is relatively low, and I'll keep a little bit of it for the long term, just because of that. I do my classic profit taking plan, which we can talk about a little bit if people want to get into that. I see the stablecoin question. That's a great question. We can hit that in a second too, and I can show you a couple things. It'd be easier to show you if DeFi Llama was working, but unfortunately it's not. So we might have to put a pin in that, but I can at least talk you through it a little bit. Let me do a quick comment scan to make sure I'm not missing things. Is there potential for Arrow to hit $10? So I am not. Oh, Nil, good call on DappRadar. DappRadar might be working. Let's check that out. I don't do price predictions because I have absolutely no earthly idea what the price of any token is going to do. They could go up, they could go down. And me saying that is not overly helpful. So what I do instead is describe the way to plan what to do if they go up and what to do if they go down. So that's about as much as you can hope for me. I couldn't tell you with any degree of even vague fake confidence whether I think Arrow will get to $10 or not. From where it's at right now, that's a massive move. We're talking more than 1,000% up. So, in the short term, extremely unlikely. Extremely. Not impossible, but extremely unlikely. I was going to check DappRadar, another phenomenal website that you can use to explore all sorts of things. Yes, I'm a human. I feel like that guy who eats the worms on TikTok Live. I'm real, my friend. Okay. Yeah, DappRadar seems to be working. So there, that's at least a thing. $3 to $4 for Arrow. So what is its all-time high, like 220 or something like that? So 3 to 4 seems a lot more reasonable. I think that you'd really have to see a pretty significant market sentiment turnaround to get to that point, though, because as it stands, we're way too sketched out. Right now I've been saying we're dancing on the edge of a knife with altcoins, really waiting for some stronger indication whether we're going deeper down or able to resume. And the couple things going against the altcoins in general right now, this applies to all altcoins, including ETH. The things going against it right now are the fact that Bitcoin strong, Bitcoin good, Bitcoin crushing right now. It's being an absolute monster, and dominance is very high. Bitcoin dominance, which is the measure of Bitcoin's size with relation to every other cryptocurrency, it's over 60%. So of all of the money in crypto right now, over 60% of it is in Bitcoin. And if you're curious about what that rate is, you can either check TradingView or just right here on the top of CoinGecko. They actually have, there's sometimes a little discrepancy in the numbers, but there's a Bitcoin dominance checker on the top of CoinGecko. And yeah, like Cisco says, we had some inflation data that came in hotter than expected today. Which not a ton higher, but a little bit. And whenever that happens, people sell off assets. Inflation's like hot, and people respond by dumping assets that are hedges against inflation. Make it make sense. So TC, and answer your question, when alt season, that's exactly what you'd be. No one knows when. I am personally kind of in the camp that I'm a little bit more hesitant to say that you're going to see an incredible alt season anytime super soon. But who knows? What's keeping Binance from listing Arrow? Probably competition. Probably the fact that it's not trading enough. It's not going to make them enough money for them to feel like giving more exposure to something that is a direct product of one of their top competitors in Coinbase. Aerodrome is a product of the Base ecosystem, which is a blockchain built and maintained by Coinbase engineers. Binance is a competing centralized exchange. And in order for them to do that, they would have to either, one, not care about the competition, which they do, or they would need to see the potential for them to make so much money with it that they don't care. So I think that it'll probably happen eventually if the project keeps it up and keeps going, but I'm really not holding my breath. So Mitch, kind of the same thing. Do I think we could see one in the next 12 to 18 months? It's possible, but it's also possible that the economic response to all of these new policies that are really shake up drive us into a tree. And it's very possible that things crash. I don't know. I'm not an economist. So I really try to stay out of making those kinds of predictions. And me saying maybe doesn't really help anybody. So I tend just to not. Ondo. So if you missed kind of the beginning of the show, we talked about real world assets. Ondo is in that, and Ondo's just like the big Mac Daddy of the real world assets narrative right now. So everything I said in the beginning of the show, which someone asked about this being recorded, this is recorded and it will be on YouTube forever. Well, as long as there's a YouTube. Just check out the first little chunk of the show. We talked about Plume Network, and then I talked a little bit about RWA, real world assets, as a narrative, and Ondo fits into that, just like bigger, harder, better, faster, stronger kind of a thing. Okay, so that is Arrow. There was a question about Polkadot. Polkadot, I'll give you thoughts on several things, and I'll use Polkadot as the example. So this kind of applies to what I would call sounds a little mean, but the dinosaur chains. So these are like big ecosystems that have been around for a while. They've been through a bull and a bear cycle at least once. And now we're in this position where we're in the midst of another market that's trying to decide if it's going to continue to be bullish or if it's going to switch bearish. And these Polkadot, Cardano, much smaller, but things like EOS, these are all examples of projects that have, for lack of a better phrase, sort of been sleeping through it. You wouldn't be able to say anything huge and bombastic that they've done. There's not a tremendous amount of volume over there. There's not a bunch of people building and doing stuff. Right now, a lot of attention, and this has been the case for months and months, a lot of the attention has been on the meme coin cycle, and memes becoming a much more predominant piece of the industry. Those are all happening on Base. They're happening on Solana primarily. And actually, as of like yesterday, the Avalanche meme scene is picking back up again. Every chain has got some memes. Most of them are on Solana because that's where all the people and all the liquidity are. So people want memes. They're all going to launch over there. Base has a bunch as well. It's kind of that thing. Like if any attention is being given to any ecosystems right now, it's pretty much memed. So Polkadot, it's a good chain. I always use the example. My dad was building something software related. He needed a blockchain component to it. He wanted to test it out. He did some checking. He has no feelings about anything. He doesn't care what your bags are in. And he picked Polkadot, and he's like, this works exactly for what I need. It did the job. But it was also harder to use. The barrier entry is higher. The wallet scene over there is awful. I haven't looked in a while. There was a wallet called Fearless, which was like more of an app sort of software wallet. Straight up the worst wallet I've ever used. Not even close. Like the next worst, not even close. Truly, truly, truly terrible. And other than that, it's just like, you're running a regular like Next.js wallet connected to Polkadot, and it's also terrible. No user interface, no features, just terrible. So that really needs to change. And now I will say I'm very open to being corrected if there's something new that I'm just unaware of. I haven't looked in a bit. But I mean, you can't compare it to things like Phantom, like Soulflare, even MetaMask. You're bad when MetaMask is like destroying you from a usability perspective. A wallet that hasn't been updated in a fortnight. No, so it's still JS. There you go. So still awful. Thank you, Water. Anyway, there's a stablecoin question. So that's Polkadot. I would love to be able to speak more favorably about them, but I really need to see more. I got to see them do more stuff, and they're just sleeping right now. They're not. If they're doing things, they're not talking about the things that they're doing, and that is just as bad as not doing them. If you're doing cool shit and you don't tell anyone that you're doing cool shit, who cares that you're doing cool shit? No one knows. You can have the coolest product ever, and if you never tell anyone that you've got it, then no one knows you have it. Like, I hate to say it, but you got to market. If you're not marketing, then no one's going to come and use your stuff. Why do you think Solana's crushing? Because it works, and they talk about it all the time. Here's a good little quick question here. What do you think about the crypto czar's speech from last week? I was way more excited about it than I think most people were. I don't know what people expected. A bunch of like sitting Congress people to like come out wearing pit vipers and start pumping your bags for you. There was never a snowball's chance in hell that was going to happen. So for what it was, I was encouraged by it. Stablecoins, bullish. Get out of the way, bullish. More friendly regulators, bullish. It was all good news for the industry, for like the allowance of growth and innovation, which is all that we want. Like, I don't need Congress to do it for us. I don't need Congress's help. I just need them to get the hell out of the way. You know what I mean? So that's what people want. They want to be able to experiment, mess around without thinking they're going to go to prison or get sued into oblivion. Okay. Grass. Wow. That was like super trendy for a little smidge, and then I think people were pretty salty about it. I didn't participate in Grass. I would be curious if anyone else did and what you guys think about it. If you did the thing. I just remember seeing it shilled into oblivion, and whenever I see 400 TikTokers make a video about the same thing, I just write it off. Okay, so let's talk about the stablecoins really quick. It's come up a couple times and you've been very patient. So why would retail be any kind of interested in stablecoins? Well, because let's put the tinfoil hats on a little bit, but we don't even need to go full tinfoil because this stuff is happening like right in front of our eyes. So you have this Department of Government Efficiency, right, looking to root out waste, fraud, and abuse in the United States federal government. Interestingly, there's not a tremendous amount of focus on the defense budget, which is huge and full of waste. I'm speaking from the experience of someone who participated in wasting money while a member of the military. It's there. Instead, what's being looked at is stuff touching the banking industry. And that's just making me think that there's more of a push like to get into stablecoin stuff and crypto stuff. That's where the focus is. So first of all, I think that everyone should have at least a little bit of money in stablecoins. Why? It increases the velocity at which you can do things in crypto. It's easier to swap USDC or USDT into a cryptocurrency. Most major tokens have a USDC pair. And if you would like to purchase things off of centralized exchanges, so instead of using Coinbase or Kraken or Binance, if you would like to leave and do things on the decentralized exchanges, stablecoins are one of the number one vehicles that you can use to do that. Because instead of swiping a debit card and paying for something on a platform like Coinbase, you would be swapping into something from USDC, for example, a stablecoin. So Aerodrome, for example, if you wanted Aero, you would instead of just like buying it with your debit card like you would on Coinbase, you would swap USDC into it. So it increases the velocity at which you can swap into things. It also gives you something that you can hold your winnings in. When you take profit and stuff, you can take profits into stable coins. It makes it easier to trade kind of back and forth. And you usually have better yield options when you are in a stable coin. So, personally, if I look at my savings account with USAA, and I mean this with as much shade as it's possible for me to give, USAA offers me a just breathtaking 0.01% interest on my savings account. 0.01%. When we talk about trying to protect your money from inflation, from debasement, we're talking about trying to close a gap that's like pushing 20%, if not more than 20% per year, based on the amount of money printing and the rate of inflation, real inflation, not just reported inflation, and then currency debasement, how much money is being printed and added to M2, the circulating money supply. I would like to close that gap. So that means you need to earn a higher interest rate on your money. That's why people invest, because the interest rate of return on invested money is higher than the interest rate that a bank will pay you to save money. You put money in a bank account, and that's the only thing you do with it. It's just inflating away 10 times, 20 times, 30 times faster than your shitty interest rate's going to be able to keep up with. Stablecoins open up new interest rate possibilities. So on the low end, you can use something like Aave, which is the biggest DeFi protocol on the planet that has a ton of money on it, like $20+ billion of money is sitting on the Aave platform doing any number of different things. It's a borrowing and lending service. And I'm right now earning, I think last I looked was like 6%, and it's low. It's low right now. It's down. Somewhere between 6 and about 10.5% APY, compounding interest on just dollars on your stable coins. So from an investor standpoint, if you're trying to kind of get into the space, you're trying to get, your feet wet in crypto, and you don't want to risk it by buying or investing in a bunch of stuff that you're not ready to buy, you don't understand, or you don't like, and it's volatile, and that sketches you out, you can take a little piece and you can buy US dollar-backed stable coins instead. And it's more and more and more likely that these things are going to get stronger and stronger and stronger, just because we've got a friendly Congress that's looking at doing more things to protect stablecoin issuers and to allow them to work in the United States. So, that's exciting. That's bullish for people who want to use stablecoins for stuff. So that's what I use them for. Increase my velocity to buy stuff and swap into new things and earn a significantly higher interest rate on my money than I would in my bank. And give me just 2 seconds here. So, Jas, it's Aave. Joe just wrote it up there for you. AAVE. They do have a stablecoin. It's called Go, GHO. But Aave itself is a volatile cryptocurrency that you can buy, and it's used for governance. They use it for voting. And if you give me 2 seconds, I'll be back in just a second, and I'll explain exactly what that means. Talk amongst yourselves. Give me... Okay, sorry. Anyway, as we start to wrap up here, that's really it. So stablecoins, I'm super excited about. It's one of those things that I'm a huge proponent of. Sorry. The what I mean by voting. So like I was saying before I walked away there, the Aave token. I'll pull it up here on the screen. I'll show you guys. It is a governance token. Governance is a word used in crypto to talk about one of the utilities of a token. So when we talk about cryptocurrencies and tokens, it's important to think about, why does it exist? Why would you need it? Why would anyone want it? And if there's not a compelling reason for people to want it, that is the number one red flag that I would tell you to watch out for. Aave is used to invest in speculation of the success of Aave as a platform and a protocol. So the bigger and the more popular that Aave is, the more likely it is that the Aave token does better. But also, if you would like to participate in decisions and decision-making and governance, voting about Aave, you need the token to do that. And the more of the token that you have, the more power you have when you vote. So let's flip this and let's share this. So here's Aave. We zoom out a little bit. There's the year. So, did the thing. It looks like all other altcoins. Did the thing, cruised on up, down, trying to find a new place to be supported and chill. More information over here. You can see this is, actually, this is just going to take us to Aave's actual app. And I would rather show you the homepage. This is one of those that I definitely recommend taking a look at. If you would like to learn about DeFi, decentralized finance, and the options and the things that you can do here in this space, this is probably the biggest, most secure, safest place you could go start to read about. It is not entirely risk-free, right? There is risk with all of this stuff, of course, but as far as risk goes inside of the space, if you are lending your USDC on a platform like Aave to earn that interest rate we were just talking about, your risks there are USDC, the stablecoin, depegging, low risk, Aave going under, low risk. And that's reflected in the fact that their interest rate is also lower. Usually the higher the interest rate, the more risky the platform is. But I would definitely take a few minutes and go through here. I'm also telling you for sure that it's worth learning about this and how this thing all works. And if you've never looked at any of this, I'm sure if you read just this one little clump of words right here, there's gonna be at least 2 or 3 terms that you've not seen before. Protocol, liquidity, supply, borrow, swap, stake, more. So all these are the things you can do there. It's the biggest liquidity protocol. What the hell does that mean? Access the full power of DeFi. What does that mean? These are all good things to go look up, to learn about, and familiarize yourself with, because like I keep saying, the most important thing you can do if you are brand new to learning about crypto and blockchain and all of this technology is learning to speak the language, learning the jargon. So this is a great place to get some terms that are worth looking up and learning about. DeFi, liquidity, very important word to familiarize yourself with. Protocol, you'll see this a lot. And then all of these sorts of things. So anyone curious, this is aave.com, AAVE, right there, .com. Big DeFi protocol, worth learning about. All right, I am about to wind down, a little bit shorter tonight just because it's just me. If you have any last minute questions, toss them in there. Otherwise, because Evan's not here, I've been slacking. Let me give you guys just a quick commercial for our Discord, which is completely free to join. Toss the banner up here. I don't have the little box that Evan always sets up. I sat here for so long before sending the stream live trying to figure out how Evan puts that box on the screen. Couldn't do it. Could not do it. So we run and maintain over here at RiseUp a free to join Discord community. If you are not familiar with Discord, it can be a little bit intimidating. It doesn't have the world's greatest user experience for someone who's never used it before. Discord is basically like a super organized group chat. There's lots of different rooms called channels, and you can go in and there's a bunch of people in there and you can kind of talk about stuff. And we have one that is exclusively dedicated to learning about crypto in a way that isn't shilly and gross and toxic and not super fast paced. So if you're new, if you're trying to figure out whether or not you're even interested in this stuff and you would like to learn about it in a place where someone's not going to ram down your throat that you have to go buy a bunch of crypto, this is the place. It is completely free to join. It's completely free to ask questions. It's completely free to chat and read. There are forums that you can look at, that you can chat in. There's a big general chat. There's thousands of people in there. Everyone is at different stages of their learning journey. It's a fantastic place to learn about this stuff. If you would like to join, the link is in my bio. If it doesn't work, shoot me a DM and I'll help. Sometimes TikTok breaks the link. If you're over here on YouTube, Twitter, whatever, the link is right here on the screen. On TikTok, it is discord.gg/riseup, RISEUP, rise up. Just go to that URL in your web browser and you'll get an invite. Screen will be like, would you like to join the Rise Up Morning Show Discord server? Anyway, there are things you can pay for in there. There's a membership. You don't need it. If you just want to ask a few questions and kind of figure out if you're interested in all this stuff, or if it's something that you'd like to get more into, join the free side, chat it up, see if you're into it. We did talk about Plume, Mateo. It was in the very beginning. The recording is on YouTube. If you just check the beginning and I go through the whole thing, we dug into Plume a little bit. We talked about RWAs and all that good stuff. All right, if you guys, I am so sorry. If you have been over here on YouTube with me, I really appreciate it. And Twitter, you guys are killing it. And I've been so terrible at the comments over here. If you're on YouTube and you're looking for the pre-record or the previously recorded streams, they're not in videos. You have to go to live. I wish that they would put them in videos once they're like done and recorded and like posted, but they don't. You have to go to live. All right. I really appreciate all of you guys hanging out. I'm sorry that we rugged you guys tonight with the show. Wanted to at least do something. Again, Will, unfortunately, pretty sick. I'm not sure if he'll be back with us tomorrow morning. Evan and I will be back. Same time, same place, tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Eastern for the regular Rise Up morning show. And then we'll be back next Wednesday night with the regular Rise Up After Dark. Next week, we're going to be joined by Genia from Pith Network. He's the head of business development over there. We met him in Prague. We had a few drinks. He's cool. It was a great chat, and he's agreed to come on and join us and talk about DeFi, talk about what they're working on, and then generally talk about other altcoins and all that good stuff. All of that normal things. Next week's Rise Up After Dark will be back to normal. I hope. Please, dear God, I hope. And then, like I said, I'll see you guys in Discord. If you have any other questions and I didn't get you a good enough answer tonight, toss them over there. Leave me a comment. Final warning, this is my only profile. I will never reach out to you via DMs. I will never DM you. No matter if someone with a profile picture that looks like mine, with a username that looks like mine, reaches out to you and asks you anything, no matter how innocent it sounds, 1, it's not me. 2, they're trying to scam you. Just block them. They can't do anything to you if you just ignore them. Unfortunately, I'm sure that all of you have received at least one DM from a fake version of me or Evan or Will. We only have one profile, and that profile will never, ever, ever, ever DM you. If you join the Discord, you will also get Discord DMs from fake Evans and Alexes and Wills. They are always scams. We will never try to isolate you into a private chat like that. We will always talk to you in public where everyone else in the community can see it so that you can confirm it's actually us. Please be careful. Unfortunately, it's not just isolated to crypto. If you are on any social media trying to learn anything about money, there are people trying to scam you, and they look like they dress themselves up to look like creators. They DM you. They're relentless. They're aggressive. There are thousands of them. I wish there was anything I could do about it. But there's just not. TikTok could help us, but they're not really that interested, unfortunately. So thank you again. I will look forward to seeing all of you guys bright and early tomorrow morning, back with Evan, and hopefully Will. We'll see if he makes it through the night. So send him some well wishes and make fun of him for having a weak immune system. And I will see you guys in the Discord and first thing in the morning. See you guys. All right, there's that. All of you, I will see you tomorrow morning, bright and early.